Atlanta Fed GDP tracker shows the economy could be on the brink of a recession. Mortgage demand falls to the lowest level in 22 years amid rising rates and slowing home sales. Fannie Mae reports would-be home buyers feeling squeeze of higher home prices and mortgage rates. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to cover breaking news from Fannie Mae and the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. There's so much information to unpack here. Thank you so much for tuning in. One caveat, I'm a Florida, Georgia real estate broker, not a financial advisor. All right, let's begin. Per CNBC, Fed GDP tracker shows the economy could be on the brink of a recession. A widely followed Federal Reserve gauge is indicating that the U.S. economy could be headed for a second consecutive quarter of negative growth, meeting the rule of thumb definition for a recession. In an update posted Tuesday, the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now tracker is now pointing to an annualized gain of just 0.9% for the second quarter. Following a 1.5% drop in the first 3 months of the year, the indicator is showing the economy doesn't have much further to go before it slides into what many consider a recession. And it goes on to say, GDP Now follows economic data in real time and uses it to project the way the economy is heading. Tuesday's data, combined with the recent releases, resulted in the model downgrading what had been an estimate of 1.3% growth as of June 1st to the new outlook for a 0.9% gain. From the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, the GDP Now model estimate for real GDP growth seasonally adjusted annual rate in the second quarter of 2022 is 0.9% on June 8th, unchanged from June 7th after rounding. After this morning's wholesale trade release from the U.S. Census Bureau, the nowcast of the contribution of inventory investment to second quarter real GDP growth decreased from negative 1.61 percentage points to negative 1.62 percentage points. So, personal consumption expenditures saw a cut to a 3.7% gain from the previous 4.4% estimate. Moreover, the real gross private domestic investment now is expected to shave 8.5% off growth from the previous 8.3%. To further explain, PCE is a measure of consumer spending that is responsible for nearly 70% of gross domestic product. Could consumers be subjugated to high prices, out-of-control inflation, and rising interest rates? Mortgage demand falls to the lowest level in 22 years amid rising rates and slowing home sales. Mortgage rates are back on the upswing after a brief decline in May, and the housing market is still suffering from a lack of listings. As a result, mortgage demand continues to drop. Total mortgage application volume fell to 6.5% last week compared with the previous week. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association's seasonally adjusted index, demand hit the lowest level in 22 years. And it goes on to say, the average contract interest rate for 30-year fixed-rate mortgages with conforming loan balances increased to 5.40% from 5.33%, with points rising from 0.60 from 0.51 for loans with a 20% down payment. Refinance demand, which is the most sensitive to weekly rate moves, fell another 6% for the week and was 75% lower than the same week 1 year ago. The vast majority of mortgage holders now have rates considerably lower than the current one, and even those who would like to pull out cash from their homes are choosing second mortgages rather than refinancing their first liens. Okay, so the mortgage industry is getting hit with massive demand destruction from the Federal Reserve Bank, high prices, and lack of supply of housing. This is leading to layoffs in the mortgage industry, with more to come in the near future. Okay, we have some breaking news from Fannie Mae. Would-be home buyers feeling the squeeze of higher home prices and mortgage rates. Only 17% of consumers reported it's a good time to buy a home. The Fannie Mae Home Purchase Sentiment Index HPSI remained relatively flat in May, decreasing by only 0.3 points but inching nearer to its 10-year and pandemic low of 63.0 from April 2020. Surveyed consumers continue to express concerns about housing affordability, with the good time to buy indicator reaching a new survey low, as 79% of respondents reported that it's a bad time to buy a home. Additionally, 70% of respondents expect mortgage rates to continue their recent ascent over the next 12 months. A greater share of consumers also expressed concern that they may lose their job in the next 12 months, but that component remains firmly positive generally, with only 16% of consumers expressing pessimism. Year over year, the full index is down 11.8 points. And it goes on to say, consumers' expectations that their personal financial situations will worsen over the next year reached an all-time high in the May survey, and they expressed greater concerns about job security, said Doug Duncan, Fannie Mae's Senior Vice President and Chief Economist. Further respondents' pessimism regarding home buyer conditions carried forward into May, with the percentage of respondents reporting it's a bad time to buy a home hitting a new survey high. The share reporting that it's easy to get a mortgage also decreased across almost all segments. Duncan continues, These results suggest to us that increased mortgage rates, high home prices, and inflation will likely continue to squeeze would-be homebuyers, as well as those potential sellers with lower locked-in mortgage rates out of the market, supporting our forecast that home sales will slow meaningfully through the rest of the year and into the next. Okay, so high housing prices and rising interest rates are taking their toll on would-be homebuyers. The new housing supply, according to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Census Bureau, is up to a 9-month supply compared to a 6-month supply in March. Sales are down by 16.6%, a massive miss from the original expected decline of 1.7%. This is a massive shift of unbalance. Could this lead to downward pressure on the housing market? Yes. Do you think we're on the brink of a recession? Let us know in the comments. Okay, so today's takeaway. The Atlanta Federal Reserve's GDP Now tracker is now pointing to an annualized gain of just 0.9% for the second quarter, down from the estimated 1.3% increase less than a week ago. With the first quarter growth down 1.5%, a second consecutive quarter of negative growth meets the rule of thumb definition for recession. Applications for a mortgage to purchase a home fell 7% for the week and were 21% lower than the same week 1 year ago. And finally, the percentage of respondents who say it's a good time to buy a home decreased from 19% to 17%, while the percentage who says it's a bad time to buy increased from 76% to 79%. As a result, the net share of those who say it's a good time to buy decreased 5 percentage points month over month. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that like button. I'm a Florida, Georgia real estate broker, not a financial advisor. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.